Hi, it's Yannick. I hope you're doing well. In today's video, we're going to learn and practice all your major chords together. 7. So, if you don't already know, what is it? A major chord. 7, you're going to learn it today. And if you already know what it is, you'll get to review it. And we're going to learn and practice it, like I said, together in all the keys. So, 12 keys, 12 chords. Major 7. So, if you're one of those people who doesn't want to know the theory, I wouldn't recommend it to you. If that's the case, but you just want to jump straight into practice, you can go right to the section just here, and that's where we'll go through the 12 major 7 chords together with tracks. So, I'm putting free tracks for you today in the description. Completely free, as well as the sheet music we'll look at together. So, 3 tracks, one at 80, one at 100, and one at 120. So, these 3 tracks are exactly the same thing, meaning the 12 major 7 chords going up by half steps. We're going to look at all of that together. Anyway, if you don't understand right now, but just so you know, if you want to go download the material, it'll be the first link in the description along with the sheet music. So first of all, I think it's important that I explain this to you properly. What is a major agreement? 7. Because it's really all done on the same pattern, on the same basis. So why does theory become so important? Here. That's because it's the same pattern. So if you know it in C, you'll also know it in D flat, you'll also know it in D and E flat. And if you've forgotten, for example, what is it? F sharp major 7, you could use the same pattern, the degrees, and transpose them into that key. So what is it, really? It's 1, 3, 5, and 7. And when we say major 7, we mean major. So, major scale and the major 7 chord is built using the notes from the major scale. That's why we're going to start with this one, because I think it's the easiest to understand. At least. So, if you look here at the sheet music, I'm going to write out what it is. A C major chord. 7. So here you will have C, E, G, and B. And those are your 4 basic notes for the C major 7 chord. But what's really important to understand here is that these are degrees that are part of the major scale. So, what is the C major scale? I assume you've already heard it. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We've all heard that before, at least the notes or maybe someone playing them. At a Christmas party, there's my Aunt Gertrude who comes and plays her recorder or her harmonica, and she'll play C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, a major scale, whatever the instrument. I'm sure you've heard that before. So what's important is to know and understand what the C major 7 chord is in terms of degrees. It's as simple as if I told you that the note C is the first degree of the scale. So here, in the C major 7 chord, we'll find the first degree. Okay. So the first degree of the major 7 chord is the tonic, which is C. That's why I put a 1 here. Next, what do we have? We have an E. E, what is that in the C scale? It's the third note, right? Friede. And what is that going to be in the chord? What are we going to call it? We're going to call it the third. 1, 2, 3, third, 3, third. That makes sense, doesn't it? So here, we'll have the third. I'm writing it in Roman numerals because that's how it's usually done, but it could also be written like this. 1, 3. And here, now we have a G. The G in the major scale, what is it? It's the 5th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C, D, E, F, G. So, the 5th. We call it the 5th note of the major scale. And now we finish here with the note B. But what is the note B in the major scale, the C scale? It's the 7th note. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 7. So, we'll call it the 7th. Major 7th in this case, we'll have C, E, G, B. First note of the C scale, 3rd note of the C scale, 5th note of the C scale, and 7th note of the C scale. 1, 3, 5, 7. You just need to remember that. If we did the exercise now to test you, let's say in another key, maybe A, for example. I don't want to pick a key that's too close, like G or F, that would be too easy. We'll go with A. You'll see why I'm telling you this. Here, in A, the first degree will be the tonic. That's the easiest note. So here we'll have an A because we're in A. major 7. We'll still always use the same pattern. 1, 3, 5, 7. So the first note is obviously A. The third note. And that's why it's important to know and be familiar with these major scales. When we're in A major, the third, even if I count A, B, C, yes. C is the third note of the A scale because I start on A with 1, B is the second, C is the third. However, we have to respect the intervals called whole tones and semitones. And between C and E, if we come back here, between C and E, I have 2 whole tones. Between C and D, I have 1 whole tone. And between D and E, I also have 1 whole tone. So, I have to respect that. The same interval, the same distances here, 2 whole tones to get the same kind of sound. If I start on the note A, I hope that makes sense. So right here, if I am looking to get 2 full whole tones, I simply can't have AC as the note in this spot, break time equals 0.5s/, because that would only give me a tone, and a half from the A, break time equals 0.5s/, which isn't quite what we are looking for in this specific case. Here, there's a whole tone, and between B and C there's only a half tone, so what do I need to do to get my 2 whole tones? I have to raise the C. So the C will become AC sharp. That's why in the A major scale, I'll tell you right away, there are 3 sharps. There's C, there's F, and there's G, in that order. Otherwise, it would be S, C, G if you want to be the most theoretical, politically correct in the world of theorists. The first sharp will be F, C the second, and G the third. Let's go back a little bit in my explanation. Here, in the A major 7 chord, I want my tonic. Of course, that's correct for the A. Next, my third will be A C sharp. Now, the fifth. A, B, C sharp, D. And E. Okay. So the E, we don't need to alter it. Because, as I told you earlier, there are only 3 sharps, F, C, and G sharp. Here, for the fifth, that's correct. So we'll have an E. Now, here's another little trick. What would be the 7th of the A major 7 chord? Obviously, since it's in A major, you have to count from A up to 7. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp. Okay, I end up here with A, G sharp. And the reason why it's A, G sharp and not a natural G is exactly the same explanation I gave you earlier between the tonic and the third. Basically, you need an exact number of whole tones and semitones to get a major 7th. So, for that to happen, you absolutely need to have A, G sharp. So, if I play for you, basically, the C major 7 chord, and then right after I'll play the A major 7, you'll see that it's exactly the same sound. Obviously, it's not the same pitch. But I mean, the chord structure is the same, it's just transposed. Listen carefully. So I started by playing C major. 7, do, mi, sol, si. And then I played A, C sharp, E, and G sharp, which is basically my A major chord. 7. So I played C major 7, and then I played a major 7. I hope that makes sense to you. So you really need to memorize this by heart. Most of you already know this, but if you're just starting out, maybe you don't, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, nobody was born knowing this stuff. So what I'm suggesting today is that we practice all these chords together using a backing track. It'll be a lot more fun than just using a metronome, even though I really encourage using a metronome. If ever it's too fast, even at 80, we're going to do it together today at 100. But like I mentioned earlier, I'll put on a track at 80 BPM, one at 100, and one at 120. So if 80 is still too quick, no worries. Just grab your metronome and lower the tempo. So together today, what we're going to do is the rhythm you see on the screen. I've written it in C because that's where we'll start, but the rhythm will always stay the same, so it goes like this. That's what I played earlier, by the way, and I'll play it for you again. Now, as you heard, I didn't hold the whole note for its full value. 4 beats, that's not a big deal. You can play a whole note, a half note, even a quarter note. Take a breath. The important thing is really to arpeggiate all the notes you see there. So 1, 3, 5, and 7. And then we go back down, 5, 3, and 1. So we're really going to do everything. the arpeggios of each chord of each key together twice. So, ready? 2, 3, 4. We're going to start on C major 7 for bars, so the pattern twice. And then we'll go to D flat major 7. Next, we'll go to D major 7, and so on until the end. So, since we have 12 chords for bars each, in total it will last 48 bars. You can really do this at whatever octave you want. I wrote it out on a low C, but you could just as easily do it. C, E, G here in the middle register. Okay, that's not important. Go with whatever you're most comfortable with. Basically, what I want is for you to learn the chords by heart. Also, the other thing is, we're going to do it together in a few moments, but if you're not comfortable or you don't know the notes well, it's certain that if you play along with the track, there will be problems. That's for sure. What I really encourage you to do is to play one chord at a time, over and over again. So you don't even need to add rhythm for now, just get the chords down and get them into your fingers. That's really what you want in the end. Because what you need is to develop automatic reflexes. For example, if you were playing a standard and you saw this chord, A D major 7, you don't really have time to say to yourself, okay, that's D major. 7, right, there must be A D in there. Major, okay, there must be a third, so what is it again? Oh no, it's F sharp, that's right. Then I have AC, or AC sharp, and you say, oh yeah, your chord, sorry, but that's it, it's over. Probably even your gig is over. So it's really important not to overthink it. And that's going to happen at some point. Again, nobody is born knowing this stuff. I often say, when you're starting out, there's just so much material to take in that you feel overwhelmed. But after a while, it becomes automatic. So for me, if I see a D major 7 chord or any other chord on that page, I don't even think about it. It's like my fingers just automatically go to the right spots on my saxophone, and then I start to improvise playing around that chord. And if you've already bought my courses, you'll notice that I really put a big emphasis in improvisation on using the chord tones, the arpeggios, because it's really those notes that will make the chords stand out when you're improvising over a standard. You'll be able to play around those notes by using things like enclosures or chromatic approaches, whatever you like. And that's what will make your chord heard, but if you don't know it, you're going to have problems. So, it's really about learning them by heart. If you don't know them, let's say you're C major 7, you'll need to repeat it over and over again. You'll do the same thing with the D flat major 7, and with all the other chords for that matter. So, once that's done, then you can get back to the hunt. At the pace we're going to keep. So, let's try this together now. We'll start as indicated in the score. We'll proceed in an orderly fashion. We begin on C major 7. We ascend chromatically, and we will end on B major 7. And so, that pretty much covers all 12 of the different chords for now. And if that went well, as a bonus, what you can do is try improvising. So you can take these notes, change up the rhythm, and improvise for 4 bars, meaning for each chord, so for the first C major 7 for bars. You can improvise by using the notes of the chord, the same notes for each chord. And by the way, if you're interested in improvisation, I invite you to check out the video you see right here, and I'll see you soon. See you.